Hey everyone, today we're not just clicking through an installer or deploying some hardware. No, we're actually building something from the ground up. We're going to walk through deploying a VxRail cluster, but we're going to look at it as if we're assembling a world-class, high-performance team.
So, what are we really talking about here? At its heart, deploying a VxRail cluster is all about getting a bunch of individual servers, we call them nodes, to work together as one. The team analogy is perfect, really. Each node is a player with its own strengths, its own resources. And our job? Our job is to bring them all together into one cohesive unit that is way more powerful than any single player could ever be on its own.
So here's our game plan for how we're going to build this team. First, we'll cover the basic team concept. Then, we'll get to the first handshake where all the players meet. After that, we'll see how they pool their resources, then we'll appoint a manager to lead them, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with a blueprint for success.
All right, Section 1, the team concept. It's all about this idea of synergy, right? Taking all these individual pieces and turning them into a single, unified powerhouse. So, let's get started.
Okay, enough talk. Theory is over. Let's do this. Let's get our hands dirty and actually build this team.
Okay, step 1. We're calling it the first handshake. Because the very first thing you do when you build a team is get everyone in the same room to just meet each other. In the VxRail world, that's called initialization. It's where our nodes get to know each other for the first time.
And how does this happen? Well, you use a tool called VxRail Manager. You just log into its interface, and it automatically goes out and scans the network to find all of your players, all the available nodes. And once it finds them, it kicks off the entire process, making sure all the hardware and network stuff is good to go.
But, just like in real life, what happens when somebody doesn't show up for that first meeting? This is a super common hiccup, right? You start the discovery and nothing. Some or maybe even all of your nodes are just missing in action.
Well, the fix is usually pretty straightforward. Just like a real meeting, you've got to make sure everyone has the right address. In tech terms, that means you need to check that all your nodes are on the correct network VLAN. I mean, seriously, think of the VLAN as the conference room number. If your node is in room 101, but the meeting is in room 202, it's never going to get found. You also got to make sure its IP address is reachable.
All right, our team members have all met. So what's next? Well, now they need to start working together, sharing their strengths and pooling their knowledge. And in the world of VxRail, that means it's time to configure vSAN storage.
So what exactly is vSAN? It's actually kind of magical. It's software that looks at all the individual hard drives in every single server and just pulls them all together into one giant shared pool of storage. This is the team's shared brainpower, their collective muscle. Everything all in one place for everyone to use.
Setting this up is pretty cool. You organize your disks into 2 tiers, a super fast cache for things you need right now, and a bigger capacity tier for everything else. Then, you set up these things called storage policies. Think of them like data insurance. It's stuff like RAID, which makes redundant copies of your data. This makes sure that even if one player gets knocked out of the game, the team doesn't lose a single piece of information.
Now, if you're building an elite, all-star team that demands the absolute best performance, there's a whole other playbook for that. It's called vSAN Express Storage Architecture, or ESA for short. This is the modern, high-speed approach designed for the fastest hardware you can get.
And you can see the difference right here. The original architecture, OSA, has that 2-tier cache and capacity setup. But ESA, it's built only for the fastest of the fast, all flash NVMe drives. In fact, it's so fast, it doesn't even need a separate cache. That totally removes a potential bottleneck and just delivers mind-blowing performance. So yeah, if you're building with all-stars, ESA is a total no-brainer.
Okay, another classic problem. What if you've got a player on the team who just isn't pulling their weight? I mean, they're on the roster, but their resources, their skills, they just aren't showing up. In our vSAN world, this happens when storage devices aren't being detected by the system.
The solution here is usually about going back to basics. It's time for a physical checkup. You got to pop the hood, Make sure the drives are actually seated correctly in the server. Are they officially supported by VxRail? And are they meeting the basic rules, like using a fast SSD for the cache tier? It's almost always something simple like that.
Okay, our team is together, they're sharing resources, they are a real unit now. But, they're not going to win a championship without a great coach, right? Someone to orchestrate their actions and call the plays. And that's where VMware vCenter comes in.
Think of vCenter as your central command. It's the one screen where you can see and do everything.
You can manage the whole team, monitor their performance, control all your virtual machines, the whole shebang. It really is the coach on the sidelines, with the playbook directing the entire game from a single spot.
And you've got two ways to get this manager on board. First, you can have VxRail deploy a brand new vCenter just for this team. This is perfect if you're starting fresh. Or if you're in a larger organization that already has a head coach, your new VxRail team can simply join up with the vCenter server that you already own and manage.
But what if there's a total communication breakdown? What if the coach can't talk to the team? You go through the whole setup and then, bam, the cluster fails to connect to the vCenter server. It's a frustrating one for sure.
And again, 9 times out of 10, this comes down to the absolute basics of communication. First, can the team even see the coach across the network? Second, are the credentials, the username and password, 100% correct? And the big one, the one that gets everybody, DNS. DNS is basically the team's shared contact list. If it's broken, your cluster can't look up vCenter's address. It literally doesn't know how to find its coach.
So we've built the team, we've pooled the resources, and we've appointed a manager. Now for the final section, the coach's playbook. These are the key tips and strategies to make absolutely sure your deployment is a huge success.
If you're new to this, listen up, because this stuff is pure gold. First, just follow the deployment wizard. Seriously, it's there to help you. Second, checklists are your best friend. Use a pre-deployment checklist before you even start. And please, please document everything. Your IPs, your VLANs, your passwords. You will thank yourself later. And remember, there are tools built right in to help you troubleshoot, so don't be afraid to use them.
And here's the high-level wisdom. Don't just click buttons. Understand why you're doing each step. Get familiar with those common errors we talked about so you can spot them early. If I can leave you with one thing, it's this. When in doubt, always check your network and DNS settings first. It's almost always the culprit. And if you're really stuck, the logs are your source of truth. They'll tell you exactly what went wrong.
And that's it. You did it. You followed the playbook, you navigated the challenges, and now your high-performance team is assembled, configured, and ready for action. The only real question left is, what amazing things are you going to build?